Hi, this is Dr. Nicole.
And this is Coach Kafia.
And Dion, welcome to Opportunities Over Obstacles.
The podcast where we discuss lessons in motherhood,
Life and business.
Hey, what's up,
Hey.
ladies? How are
What's
you?
up?
Good.
I'm doing
It's
good.
a nice sunny day down in the Cape. Well, I was going to say Kansas City. Wait.
Kansas
I
City,
was,
but
I was,
Missouri.
I had to slow down on the state because I don't want to get beat up.
It is the Missouri side, the show me state. Yes, the Missouri
Why do they
side.
call it the Show Me State?
I have no
What is that
idea.
about?
I don't know. I have no idea.
You want to show me some good barbecue? Is that what that is?
Well,
Do
Show
they
me
have the
some.
World Fair, a lot of state fairs and stuff there?
Mm.
I don't know. That's a great question. On next episode of the podcast, I'll answer that for you because I have no
Ooh,
idea.
yeah. We should have a trivia like every time.
Ooh,
A
that's
little
good.
known fact that we answer the next time.
Oh,
That's good. Okay, so the
okay.
reason behind Show Me State, I'll answer that for y'all in the
Okay.
next episode.
So what is up? We haven't talked about relationships in a while. Like, we go
Hmm.
deep into all of it.
Yeah.
Life, motherhood, business, but what's up on the relationship front?
It's scary. I'm like seeing the. Okay, so I know Dr. Nicole's a fan of Kevin Samuels, but
Oh,
I don't know.
don't say that because the people gonna come
They're
cancel
gonna
me.
come for you.
Let me clarify. You're a fan of his methods, right? Is that
I'm
fair?
intrigued. I'm intrigued by him, and
Mhm.
I get a lot from the interactions because I think he says he was able to say what a lot of people have been thinking but didn't have the words. I think
Mm.
he was extreme. I think he deliberately ruffled feathers, but I think that he helped to usher in a type of conversation while it's controversial,
Mhm.
that people are still like the conversation has just exploded. That's my diplomatic answer.
I mean, listen, I still see his clips, some that I've never seen before. And Nicole, you mentioned her, Kendra G. We were talking. So for those who are listening, we were talking about this before we started recording. We were like, "Wait, pause. That's a good topic."
And you had
So,
a story for us.
Yeah, she gonna tell us.
okay. Y'all know I was dying to tell it. Y'all made me hold it. So it was a guy. I didn't see the whole. I just saw a clip. He called
Mhm.
into the show, and he seemed really tender at the top. I'll say that, not emotional, just very, and it
Okay.
spiraled fast because he said he hadn't been with a woman in decades. And then Kendra was like, "Well, are you looking for a man?" He's
Hmm.
like, "Well, I didn't say that." And she was like, because it was like, I guess it stopped her in her tracks. And basically, he said, I was gay and now I'm looking for a woman. And it went into like his belief in, Christ and how he wants us to live a certain way. And he seemed really convicted. But the comments, people were like, "Nope, nope, that's okay, bro. You need therapist. You need a therapist. You don't need this. You don't need a wife. You don't need a companion. Like you have to get because there were so many things that came out of that exchange that came to the
Oh.
surface." And he started like weeping,
Oh
and
my
she's like, "We
God.
don't have to continue this. Like, if you're
Mhm.
not comfortable, like." He was like, "No, I
Oh.
need to do this. We need to have this conversation." I don't know if he was using that moment as a replacement
His
for
own.
therapy.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
Yeah.
his own
Yeah,
catharsis.
it was
Oh my
scary. It was so
God.
scary. So, I didn't understand the
Whoa.
comments at
Ooh.
first, but as the video went on, I was like, "Oh, he has a lot of deep-seated issues." So that was
Wow.
interesting to see the comments around like, there was basically, like, no sympathy, empathy for him at all. People were just like, wrong platform. No, we don't want you." It's like, wow.
Oh
So
my
what's
God.
happening in these relations? I don't know. I
That
It's a
is
lot.
that is a lot. But it
Yeah.
makes me think of like, I don't know, for whatever reason, it's making me think of all the people that will have an explosion like that of their emotions once they stop numbing themselves with like alcohol, drugs, and sex. Like
Mm.
it just makes me think that there's got to be so many other people that are so bottled up with that. Because the fact that he felt like he needed to do that there
Mhm,
means that
mhm.
he probably doesn't have a space to do it, or he didn't know it was coming. And like, oh my goodness, that's,
Yes.
I could see
But
that he was tormented. Like you could visibly
yeah.
like tell. Yeah.
wow. But you highlighted something because we often think we could all agree drugs, you're numb people, alcohol. People don't understand how these serial relationships and situationships are another form of numbing
Hmm.
themselves.
Yeah.
So it's yes, the just promiscuous sex is another numbing, but like all these hopping on these relationships and
Hmm.
toxicity, like that's a whole other drug, like you said. So
Mhm.
now that he's cut all of that out, it's like this big meltdown.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
bet that's what people are afraid of too. Like,
Mm.
to some degree, they probably don't recognize it on like a conscious level, but to some degree, part of what they fear is like having to face those things that are tormenting you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
Yeah. And then
and
people don't want
now,
to deal with their significant other's baggage or issues, which is another a whole nother layer.
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
because then it would face them to deal with their own. If I mean, you have
Mhm.
no tolerance for someone else if you have never felt like, if you've never dealt with it for yourself. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? You feel like a sense of I can see how you could feel a sense of like resentment of like, no, like I'm not dealing with your stuff, or a sense of like, I understand how heavy that can be and I'm not dealing with it, like on both
Yeah,
sides. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
So you just captured modern day dating conversations. Like literally, if you look online, right, it's always, I'm not dealing with that. Oh, what are you?
Mhm.
You only have like, and it's literally what you just, it's a projection of your own internal state, but it now
Hmm.
gets couched as like men against women, this against that, like modern dating sucks. But no, it's just unhealed people out
Mhm.
here
Trying
with
to
podcast microphones and all that stuff.
right,
Not us.
And
right.
Nicole, it's so funny because I saw a post on, I guess I was on Facebook last night or something. And this is the, the summary of the post, not
Mhm.
verbatim, but it was
Uh-huh.
something to the effect of, these women, like most women who are submissive and catering to their man are really something. I forget what it was, but
We're happy.
I was scroll, but no, people were saying like you're really, I don't know if they were saying like you have unhealed trauma. It was a very interesting take on the whole
Yeah.
submission catering piece. And I think there's maybe a stigma around having to deal with somebody else's stuff or even
Hmm.
just to
Hmm.
cater to somebody. And I think in relationships, that's just the nature, like of any, and that's what any type of relationship, right?
Yeah.
Like you're learning the person. It doesn't mean you're their savior necessarily, but I mean, that's part of navigating like human relationships across the board. So I thought that was,
That is
it was,
now what did you
yeah.
say earlier? Because all right, you said something earlier too about because there's a narrative, oh, why are they trying to make women submissive? But you said there's another narrative.
Mm. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
How did
So
you say
the
it?
one narrative is like, okay, y'all are trying to push, marriage and, you know, Auntie, Nana and them, like they, yeah, they were married for 50, 60 years, but they were miserable because, their husbands were cheating. And I'm like,
Hmm.
well, what about the other narrative where, being strong and independent, not needing anyone, like, why is that okay?
Exactly. So
So,
all
and
of
it,
a sudden that's liberation.
right. And at the end of the day, like, I still need my friends, I still need my family, I still need my circle. So is that necessarily a bad thing to desire some sort of human connection?
I think
Right.
that's
And
what we're created for. Like that's the whole reason why we're here. To
exactly. So we're
interact with
just meant
other
to live in our
people.
own little pods.
And it's we and that's the thing. It's not like we're not even letting past relationships speak for themselves. We're letting our perception of the past
Mhm.
relationships and we're speaking for them. And
Mm.
we're looking out from the outside in their homes and we're saying, well, this is what this looks like. It looks like he did you wrong. It looks like he didn't take it. It looks like all these things. And it's like the woman in that house looked fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you ask her what she experienced, like, she was good. Like that
Yeah.
was good for her. But because
Mhm.
we don't fully understand what we're looking at and they didn't communicate as
Mhm,
as
mhm.
as much as we have the tools now, they're not the same. We are putting our own labels and putting our own language to that stuff. And it's like it's really none of our business. Like
Thank
if
you.
you want to live and you want to be independent, you want to be strong black woman, you want to be all those things, go do it. If you want to be feminine, go be it. No, who cares?
Yes.
Like, why am I spending the mental energy
Yes.
on you? Like,
To fight against.
that
Yeah.
for what? I am so less effective in my own life, literally, when I am so focused and draining my energy and using my energy on stuff that I have no control over. Like,
Yes.
it doesn't make any sense at all.
But again, this is social media, and that's
Right.
where people feel comfortable. Going back to that first example, where like they have to go release, deflect somewhere, somehow.
Remember, it
So
started with Jerry Springer. Like, we could not believe that people would come on TV and do that. And now we're
Ricky
It's
volunteering.
Lake,
everywhere.
Jerry
Yes.
Springer,
Yeah, who else?
Sally Jesse,
Oh,
Oprah.
yes.
Yeah,
It's
that's
everywhere.
true.
Yes.
But it's
Yeah.
Wait, so
because
you got go ahead.
no, go you
I was
say.
gonna say you have to send me that post because I'm gonna spin it
Oh, I
with
don't
my
even
own narrative.
remember. I'm gonna have to go and scroll for like hours to get to that. I think it was like yesterday. I
Mm.
know I'll see it again, but like the comments were like, "Oh yeah, ooh, don't nobody have time to be submitting and catering?" I'm like, "Do you have a
Okay,
Mm.
so
heart?
what are
Like,
you doing
What do
with your
you have
time,
time
ma'am?
for?
Yeah.
Right. What
don't you want to be
What are
catered
y'all
to?" I'm
doing?
like,
Everybody's a CEO. Like, y'all are just so
everybody's a
busy.
boss.
Y'all just
Yeah,
don't have time.
we have all these chiefs and no Indians to
And
follow. Like, come on now. Like, come on.
yeah,
Some people were literally designed to support other people. That's it. And that's okay. Like, that's
yeah,
still good. Like, that's enough. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody doesn't have to be quote unquote this status of a boss. Like who said that? Who told you
yeah,
that? And just because boss doesn't necessarily mean like, leader of this particular thing, right? Like it doesn't mean that. But yeah. I do have a question though, because Dion, you said something. You said, I feel like to some degree, I don't know if you said we're all like a part of our roles is to help each other heal in the relationship. I don't know if we said that on here, if we talked about this before, but I like it. Is that what you said? Was it around something like that? Did you kind of say?
I think it was something to the effect of like it's our human nature to want to be connected to people,
Okay.
and to an extent, we are in. Correct me, Dr. Nicole. Are we interdependent? Like,
yes,
isn't that part of the human experience? Not
yes,
Yeah.
necessarily
Yeah.
the savior
Hmm.
complex, but that's not
yes.
a bad thing.
Interdependent, not codependent.
Not codependent.
Yes,
That's right. Give me my
exactly.
credentials. Yes.
Yes, that's it. Because when I hear people say they don't have time to cater, like, do you
Mm,
know what we had to do on our human evolution depending on each other? Not even just male, female, just as we had to move
Individual.
as groups, as tribes, as groups. So all of this, like individual independence, that's very recent if you think about it. Like
yeah.
as far as
Yeah.
humanity. So even I'm thinking like, aren't you catering to your kids to an extent, or your other family? Somebody, whether you're
Mhm.
in the church, like your job. you're
Mhm.
somewhere catering to
Right.
something or someone because you need that thing to survive, even if it's your job and the salary.
Right.
You're still
Right.
catering it and to an
Yeah.
extent, right? Like you're doing what they say.
Yeah. Right.
So,
And
and that,
literally, you're following. You're being a servant. Like
yeah,
you are serving someone. You're
Mhm.
serving someone.
And
Or
serving doesn't make you weak.
well, or you're serving yourself. But ultimately you're still serving.
yes,
And you were designed to serve, and
Mhm.
you're more effective and you're more fulfilled if you interdepend on your service, like make it
Mm,
a part of your experience with other people.
yes,
I guess
yes.
my question comes like as it relates to um I think some of the conversation, the negative aspects of servanthood come from mistreatment of being
Mhm.
served, right? It's almost like we throw out the baby in the bathwater
Yep.
Mhm.
because I was mistreated by a bad leader, if you will, or a leader who didn't know, or whatever the case may be. Then I'm just throwing out servanthood altogether. And
Baby
so,
with the bathwater.
right.
Mm.
So, how would we like? What are the ways that we can keep those things in balance? I mean, I know what I would say, but what are the ways that we would that we would keep that in balance as it relates to interacting and being interdependent among others?
I think that's where the healing part comes in. Like most people have not really taken the time to try to heal from those experiences, from those traumas.
Mhm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then they generalize
Yep.
to everything about connection or service or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
then it's almost like they over identify with they can't accept the vulnerability part because no matter what to connect to somebody else you have to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
It is a position of vulnerability. um so they are having a difficult time. It's like their defense mechanism.
I was just thinking that. I'm like, they
Mhm.
put that wall up, and to them, that's self-care or a boundary, but then
Mm,
you're kinda shooting yourself in the foot in the
yeah,
process.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause there's so
basically,
much,
yeah.
yeah, there is a benefit to serving and to be catered to as well. So when you have that
Mm-hmm.
hard kind of line,
Mm-hmm.
you come
And
up
if you can't
short end. Mhm.
serve, you also can't receive service. I
Mm-hmm.
guarantee you those people that are saying there's no good this and that because they have that hard exterior, but they're also not in a position to receive being
Mhm.
catered to or being served, or it's just a vicious cycle. Like they put
Mm-hmm.
up the walls all around. So then it's like they see every relationship through those eyes. Oh, see, that man was no good and that woman was this. And it's just like, guys, please.
Right.
It's not the case. Every man is not horrible. Every woman is not horrible.
Right. Right.
It's simply not true. Like it can't be true. I'm sorry.
Yep. It's all your perception on. It's really, I mean, what do we say? Like, it's you don't see the world as the world is. You see the world as you are.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like they are a reflection of you to some degree. Like I was talking to one of my friends and she was saying, I was telling her about an experience I had with somebody and they were calling me names
Oh
and they
my.
were just being like very abrasive in the
Mhm.
conversation, right? And so um she said to me, I told her the things that were said and she was like, oh man, that must sting. You know, I know how that can sting or whatever. And to me, I was like, no, not really. Like
Mhm.
I think it was more like I was just like, okay, let me reflect. Okay, why didn't that sting? Like, why
Mhm.
am I not attached to um the pain that this person can associate like with this conversation? And it was almost like a light bulb moment. It's like, well, this shirt is gray, right? So if you call this shirt blue, or it has some blue in it, but you call this shirt white, or
Red
you
or
call this
something.
shirt
Mhm.
yellow, it's like, no, that's not true. So I'm not going to be offended by that.
Mm.
And it's the same thing with the person. It's like, well, when you can identify, like I didn't identify with the words that were being said, so it's like there was no attachment to it. But
Mhm.
I don't know where I was going with that, because I was gonna bring it full circle, but the point
How
was
you
like,
see yourself
How you
allowed
see
you
yeah,
yourself.
oh,
to
right,
not.
yeah.
Mhm.
So like,
Yeah.
so ultimately, it's like I don't see myself in the way that this person sees me.
Mhm.
I understand that this person sees themselves that way. And
Yeah.
so it's not a sting for me. It's empathy for that person, because like I remember what that's like to think about that. I think you call other people names. I remember what that's like when somebody did call me a name and it related to me, like I can identify. So
Mhm.
just understanding, like, it's really about your view on life and how we don't realize. I think what Nicole said is we over identify. Like when you over identify with even the pain in your life or the struggle that you've gone through, that is what you're going to see everywhere, and
Yeah.
you gotta heal from that stuff.
Gotta heal. It jades your
Yeah,
entire life experience.
yeah.
So then practically, because I had
You said what?
somebody Deanne was saying it jades your whole life experience. And I'm like, so practically, what does this look like for someone who is seeking a relationship? Because somebody told me,
Mhm.
well, you don't understand because you're already hooked up. So
Oh,
it's
dear
hard.
Lord, I hate that.
So what do you think, Deanne, when people say, okay.
First of all, I'm working on me, so we talking about healing, right? But
Mhm.
when people say that, I'm like, I I wasn't born in a relationship, right? And from the
You just
outside looking in, right? But from the outside looking in, you might say, well, this couple has. I'm like, no, we deal with stuff too.
Mhm.
Um, I forgot the other part of that question.
Well,
Oh, what
how
does this
does
look
people,
like?
yeah. Mhm.
For me,
Like
it was therapy.
how would we help them through? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Mhm.
Somebody these days who's like just either they're 20, 25, or they're just getting back out. They're older, but maybe they recently divorced and they're like, I don't know how to find
Hmm.
anybody.
Mhm. Therapy was it
I
for me because
Yeah.
that baggage I took or carried with me every day. Like, and I had to have that outside, perspective and someone to show me like this didn't just start because you had a bad experience with this person or in this situation. So that's like
Hmm.
team therapy,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because you don't know what you don't know. And so you have to stop saying that
Yeah.
like I can figure it out on my own. I'm strong, I'm
Mm.
independent.
Mhm.
Be op- be accepting of the fact that you don't know it all, you don't have all the
Yeah.
solutions.
Yeah.
And then like ask for help, get help, invest in the help, invest in time, whatever that looks like, time,
Mhm.
money,
Hmm.
make that a priority for you because you can't in any relationship, you're not going to grow until you work on your own crap
Yeah.
at the end
Yeah.
of the day. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what were you gonna say, Kofia?
No, I was gonna say a signal for you to know, um, to know is if you are looking, like everybody who makes this statement that there's no good men, there's no good women, like, you know that your view is flawed if you can only see the negative.
Mm.
Like if you can only see the negative in what is available to you, then that is a clue for you that your perception is off.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
That is
If
the
you're only
signal.
seeing one, yes. Yes. That
Because
okay.
once you can truly say that you see the good, and oh my goodness, there are many men out here that are available, and the quality of men is just growing from the time, like from your experiences with them, then you can say that you are arriving to the path, like you are getting to a space where like you will have what you want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, it's funny because if whoever's listening to our podcast, if you don't get anything, you probably have gotten that we are always going to say it starts with you. And I was looking at this video, this live with April Mason, femininity coach. And I just called.
Child, Dr. Nicole about to start something. I'm gonna let you finish.
No, it was so, I only saw a little bit of it. It was so good because she was saying that it was some kind of, nowadays the conversation is men, everybody's asking, what do you bring to the table? So the conversation was like, well, what
Yeah.
does a feminine woman bring to the table? She brings knowledge of self, inner confidence, wisdom, all the things, everything that's an inner job. That's what a feminine woman brings to the table. And so she was saying,
Right.
when she was writing some of this stuff, the people, not even the people, the women were arguing. Oh, if he needs all that, ain't nobody, Dion, just like what you said, the people say, ain't nobody got time for all that. Oh, if he needs all that, then he needs to have 6, 7 feet. Like, and it's like, so you're literally saying you don't have time or desire to cultivate inner confidence, wisdom, beauty, groundedness, sense of self. Like, you literally don't have time for that, or you're not doing that unless somebody else has X, Y, and Z. Like, y'all are
It's
truly
not. It's
lost. Yeah.
transactional. It's. There's no desire to actually work on yourself to cultivate a relationship. It's so when, and I hate that whole what do you bring to the table discussion. Like it's always around the money, the credentials, and are you and maybe that's a whole nother topic. It's like, aren't you more than just what you make, like your salary? Like, is that it to who you are? And there was something
Well,
else you said, Nicole, about.
no, because
I
the
thought you were.
women didn't want to. Oh, you thought I was going to
Mm.
say,
I thought you were going to talk about that other podcast where the woman was angry and
wait,
just
what was it? I forgot. It's so
where she
many
was
of them.
like, "Why I gotta cook? I work. We supposed to be 50-50. I gotta go to work, come home, do the kids, do the chores, cook." I was like, "But you don't
Yeah.
have
Oh, the
to."
lady, they were
Yeah.
so
So
mad.
right. So all of this goes back to the discussion we've had before around what is within your reach to change.
Yes.
That's it.
And ladies,
But
let
it's
me
not
tell
the
you
other
a
person. You
secret.
can't always point
Yeah.
the finger at the other person.
You will be so much happier if you realize you don't have to do anything. So when you're saying, why do I have to this, that, and you don't have to. You
Who
can
said you
decide
have
not to.
to?
Yes. You can, with that lady, she had options. She could
Mhm.
either, and this is what people skip over, the communication part. I find that people get in their heads and it's like catastrophe. It's, oh, it's over. This person's horrible. But you haven't had a series of conversations where this could be either understood better or worked out. So she could have a conversation. She could
Mhm.
hire help. She could leave.
Right.
What was the fourth one? I didn't forgot now. We said, because when we talked
Somebody
about
said
it.
hire help. Well, yeah, have the conversation with, and that's the other piece too, is that we're
Mm.
pissed off at somebody about something that they don't even know, aren't aware of. So
He's going about his way, like thinking,
what is
yeah,
it?
Unspoken expectations.
Right. What is the thing Dr. Phil used to say? Like you can't change what you
what you
don't
don't.
know or what you can't acknowledge or
Mhm.
haven't acknowledged. Like let the person like be fair. Like okay,
Yeah,
do have a conversation, but we haven't worked on that skill, right? We haven't cultivated that, so it's very black or white for
yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
folks. Yeah.
But yeah, we should show some of these clips sometimes because the woman was outwardly beautiful, but she was very masculine. I'm
I
sorry.
said, whoever's on the other side of that couch, they she looked so enraged, not even angry. She looked
Yeah,
like she was about to hurt somebody. I'm like,
yeah.
girl, you're about to stroke out, first of all. For what? Who is asking? Like, so I'm, and of course we don't have the full context, but a part of me is like, well, did he ask you to do these things? Or is this an expectation that you're placing on yourself? And then there's
Mhm.
that. Like we have an expectation a lot of times, myself included, of well, we're just I don't know, why do we feel obligated to take things on when hasn't been communicated at all?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just the
Well,
expectation.
it's like that. And I'm going to Dion. All right, for everybody, Dion always tags me or sends me great video. And the last one you sent me or whatever on TikTok, I love that man.
It's that algorithm, child. You tag somebody in one picture, I mean, one video, or you share it, or you like it, and then it's going to show you more of that.
Yes. Well, he broke it down from a male. He's into masculine, feminine energy. And he said, why the man isn't stepping up, he hasn't been taught. Now, and so he goes on to all of this stuff. But here's the thing, and I wrote a comment on there too, which is yes, because he hasn't been taught. He, as he said, he's in his wounded feminine,
hmm
and he attracts women who want to step up and fix. And the woman that steps up and fix attracts the man who doesn't step up because it maintains a balance. She gets to have some kind of control, and it's also her wounded parts. He gets to be coddled, it's his wounded parts, and it's the imperfect union, but it works together because they're both invested in that dynamic.
And there was a
Mm.
follow-up video, Nicole, because it shows you the same
Oh yeah,
influencers.
okay, I gotta go
And
look at
he's like, she now becomes the mother, and he become like it. The way he broke down that whole dynamic, and I don't know if it's the messenger. Like, I feel like, of course, you talk about
Mhm.
this, other people talk about it, but the way he, oh, we lost
Yeah.
Kofi.
She'll be
But the way he broke it down, I'm just like, that is so true.
yes, yes. So, okay, yes, and that is really what it's about. Like
hmm
we attract our wounds, and
That's
then
good.
we get mad at the person
Oh,
for
that is good.
all right, hold on, let me type that.
So
Okay.
how does one attract their wounds though? That's a whole that's a part two. We'll follow up with a part two, I guess.
Yes. Okay, we'll put that. I'll write. Well, that'll be a part two. So you all have to
Mm,
The-
listen. Hmm.
It's like the un in you is the most dominant energy in you. And so that's the energy in you that leads when you're out and about in life in the more romantic part of the like seeking courtship or whatever, dating. So it's like they connect on a level that's deeper than just words.
Yes, words
It's
or
like
looks
on
or
the
anything.
energetic field is connecting, right? So it's yeah, so it's like all of those things, like if you think about like a Wi-Fi signal, it has energy, it has information in the signal that's telling you like it's transporting the information from one thing to another to give you like the information. It's the
The
same thing with
outcome.
us as humans, like right. So we have an energy that we're giving off
mm.
that's going to someone else and it's saying, oh, this is a match for us and this is where we connect, and it's like it's on a spiritual level, you know what I mean? It's a spiritual level.
Mm.
It's not something that you can see. So if you haven't dealt with that stuff, or you don't understand it, or you don't understand like yourself, you're not even gonna understand like how you're gonna attract other people.
Mm.
It's crazy, but yes.
Yeah.
So
Dr.
that
Yeah.
could
Nicole, look,
Dr. Nicole,
do the
yes.
part two, please.
So now that has me thinking about, you hear like, okay, opposites attract, and thinking about how a lot of women in that who are in their masculine are burned out, but then is that why it seems like such a struggle for them to step into their feminine, because it's that wounded, it comes from that
Masculine.
wounded place,
Hmm.
right? It's that wounded masculine, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they wonder why they can't see themselves in it. None of us can, but like in that particular situation, they can't see themselves in it. All of they see is the other person's failings, and they don't see their
Mhm.
because honestly, to step into your feminine and fall back, you have to relinquish control, some aspect of control. Some
Mm-hmm.
people rather be burnt out and be in control. Like,
We'll die
Mm-hmm.
on that hill. We'll die on that.
Mm-hmm. She said, "Die on the hill, baby.
That
Die
is
on the hill."
rolling
Okay.
down, like
roll
you
is
just,
like, no, let go. Oh my gosh.
With it in hand, the baton in hand, baby. I'm keeping it up. I'm
Like, knuckles are red, honey. arm shaking, but you like, I'm a grip. You're
No,
gripping onto it, and that is so true.
no.
You have to relinquish. I, personal testimony. Y'all know I get personal. I just had to get to the point. Even tonight, my 7-year-olds, Mom, Dad, what's for dinner? I don't know.
Look, we just had breakfast here,
As
and
much as
they
I
do that,
want a
right?
balance, child, as much as I want a healthy, home cooked, nutritious meal, in that moment, I don't need to have control there. You know what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rummage through the cabinets, pull out some
yeah.
frozen pizza. Like I don't.
She said rummage through the cabinets. Yeah, the cabinet's got frozen pizza. Where is that?
Well, I'll talk the freezer now, but I'm just like, okay, why do I feel like I need to provide nice goal, but why do I feel like I need to provide this healthy meal 7 days a week? That's not realistic, and I'm driving myself nuts. So I've had to
Mhm.
relinquish that. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
have eat what you want Wednesdays. I don't care if it's a bowl of cereal. Go in there and whatever you want. Mommy is not going to fight because I can't. I just
Yes.
can't.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reality is, most of us in this country, we're not on the brink of malnutrition. Like, nobody's going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, they have gotten their full array.
Listen, ain't nobody over here look like they missed a meal. These kids will ask about dinner at like 12 o'clock. Like, what's for dinner tonight? I'm like,
Breakfast.
we just
Shoot.
had breakfast or
Yes.
brunch.
I'm going to
Yeah.
Everybody's
school. Mommy, what's
healthy.
for dinner? What? Go to
Hmm.
school and then talk to me about it.
Okay, so my kids aren't the only ones that do that.
No.
No. Mm-mm. But
Sometimes I'm like,
no,
oh,
sorry.
especially on Sundays, it throws them off because we eat Sunday dinner early.
Yeah. Oh,
So they'll
yeah.
be like,
We
was
didn't have
that
lunch.
right?
Right.
They'll be like, was that lunch or was that dinner? I was like, it was dinner. Now leave me alone. And then
It
if you're
was
hungry
lunch.
later,
It
we
was
can
the
have a
whole thing: breakfast,
lunch.
lunch, and dinner, or whatever.
They need to label something. They have to have these like these markers are so prevalent in their day to day. It's like
Hmm.
it really set. You know what I'm saying? They addicted to this.
And if you think about it, that's a form, especially when I think about my one kid, like that's a form of control for her. Like she needs to
Mm.
know
Yeah.
Yes.
what was
Yes.
this or what's going on. Like she
Yeah.
asked, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with asking questions,
Yeah.
but she definitely doesn't know how to just go with the flow.
And
Definitely
Yeah.
see,
does not.
that goes back to what we talked about. I think in our
Breaking up, Kofia.
But I think it's okay, right? Because we're
Hmm.
teaching them that it's both, right? Because we do need certainty, so you're teaching both. Like, yeah, we have our routine.
Hmm.
Sometimes weekends is not going to be all that, regimented, and you'll be fine either way.
Right.
So, no, I don't know what's for dinner. And so,
Which is crazy because I know we grew up on Pop Tarts and cereal. Like that was, you know, egg sandwich. I'm dating myself. Peanut butter jelly, some fried bologna. That's what we just kind of get
Mhm.
something quick. So it's that. I don't know if it's a control. It could be control, but I think that comes from a place of wanting to do. It comes from a good place of wanting to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
good by the kids.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
maybe it's learning to just give yourself some slack when it can't. Like, you do it,
Hmm.
even if you did it 50% of the time, but you do it like 80, 90% of the time. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that 10%, like,
And that's about to drop. Or and Dr. Nicole knows I started a meal prep service. I
yes.
started using that. So that's a nice happy medium. So instead of us ordering out, we just order some healthier options.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we said part two, we are going to really let the people know about attracting your wounds and then what to do about it.
Mhm.
All right. So now I do have to clarify because Dion, you started with Dr. Nicole. We know you're a fan of.
Oh gosh. I am not
I'm
trying to
just
get
a
you
fan of
in
the
trouble. I'm
dialogue.
sorry.
Okay.
Right. Like his delivery he got people's attention. I get it.
Yes.
People, I don't know if I agree with it. It was more entertaining to me than anything else,
Yeah.
but it definitely stirred up some interesting conversations.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we will come back. I don't know if it'll be the exact next episode, but we'll definitely dig into that. You attract
Hmm.
your wounds.
That is so good. We getting some
Yes.
therapy now. You might have to have a whole therapy series or trauma
Yes,
series or something. All
definitely.
right. Well, we'll see y'all
Okay.
next time.
Okay. Take care. Peace out.
Bye.